Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Adam Torres with us. Adam, thank you so much for joining and welcome to the podcast.
Man, Atul, I'm so excited to be here. And let me tell you, Genius Talk, what a great name for a show. When I saw this one, I'm like, that's genius. Come on, man. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, brother, thank you so much for the compliment. So, for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
Yeah. So I'm best known for podcasting. Some people might say that's my space. I've been podcasting now for going on 10 years. I've done over 6,000 interviews. I'm approaching 7,000 interviews, Atul, and I just recently came out with a brand new book on podcasting. It's called 1 Billion Podcasts, and I give it away for free, by the way. It's for free at 1billionpodcast.com. But I'm a podcaster, man. I love it. I don't know if you watch anime at all, but there's this anime called One Piece. I like to say that I ate the pod fruit. I don't know if I made that up, but I ate the pod fruit, and all I do is podcast, man. I'll do 1,500 to 2,000 interviews this year, Atul. So do the math on that one. I'm all about podcasting, and my goal and the reason why I come on shows is I want other people to start podcasts, and I want to continue to build the podcasting community. So that's what I do, Atul.
Okay, I'm curious, like what inspired you to write your book 1 Billion Podcast?
Yeah, it was a number of things, but one of the biggest things was I came on shows just like this, and podcasters would ask me, so that maybe, if you don't mind me asking, how many episodes have you recorded? How many,
I
roughly?
think
Just roughly.
190 or 200, something like
That's
that.
amazing. So that's a good catalog of episodes. So I would talk to podcasters all the time, and they'd say, Adam, isn't the podcast space saturated? Aren't there too many? And it would get me frustrated because I'd say, as creators, they understand making and doing a show, but they didn't understand the business of it. And so the book explains the business, the opportunity, and why people should start shows. So for example, the first thing is, anybody that's ever heard that podcasting is saturated or there's too many, they just don't know the numbers. Here go the numbers. There's only about 4 million podcasts. There's over 150 million YouTube channels. Think about that for a moment. Podcasting hasn't even begun. It's in its infancy stages. It's like month 6 of YouTube or year 1 of YouTube. So even though it's been around for a long time, the thing is, as a opportunity to earn money, it really hasn't been around that long. So one of the main things I talk about in the book too is something called, and we won't go too far into this, but dynamic advertising. It's just something that says that the platform that you host on is going to put ads on your show for you. They do the work for you. So think just like YouTube. When a YouTube listen or a YouTube creator puts a episode up on YouTube, they don't have to go out and try and find an advertiser to sell an ad, right? No. What happens is, how do you get an ad on there? YouTube puts the ad on there. And what does YouTube do? They pay you if you have enough views, right? So on podcasting, that never really existed. Dynamic advertising never really existed. So even though podcasting has been around for, over 20 years, technically, as an opportunity to really earn as a creator, not so much. It hasn't really been around that long. And just to show that, one other number that I've talked about in the book is, since dynamic advertising was introduced to podcasting, now over 80% of revenue for creators comes from dynamic advertising. And that's recent. So think about that. So the point being, and the point in the book, is that everybody should be starting a podcast. I go through how to start one, I go through why, and I go through why it is one of the biggest opportunities to earn money as a creator of our lifetime, period. If you knew, for example, let's say we could go back in time right now, Atul, and let's say I said, Atul, there's this brand new platform that's coming out. It's called YouTube. Right now, there's only about 4 million YouTube channels that are in existence in the entire planet. And one day, I don't know if it's going to be in 10 years, I don't know if it's going to be in 20 years, but there's going to be over 150 million YouTube channels one day, Atul. And all you have to do is upload one video every week, and you're going to take part in that gold rush, and you're going to take part in that momentum of growth, and you're going to make some serious money. What would you say, Atul? You'd be like, nah, I don't want to do it. That sounds horrible. I can't. So that's exactly what we're talking about when it comes to podcasting. biggest opportunity of our life, and people don't see it because they don't know the numbers. So the book, 1 Billion Podcast, explains that and a lot more. But the main thing I want people to know is it's a serious, serious business opportunity, not just fun. It's a serious business opportunity. And some people are going to create generational wealth from this opportunity.
Can you give us some example apart from what you mentioned,
Of what? Explain.
like other way to do business?
Yeah. Well, I go through a couple of the top ways to monetize as well when it comes to podcasts. So I talk about, and I go through that and I actually do a webinar too that's related to that. And on the webinar or the virtual event that I do, I talk about maybe the top 3 ways that I've been able to monetize. So
Mhm.
one of the ways would be for sponsored episodes. So when people and businesses sponsor episodes coming on the show, pretty straightforward. So let's say you have your local, I don't know, chamber of commerce, and you do a deal with them and you say, hey, I want to help promote your events that are coming up, and this is my fee to advertise. And then you bring them on the show, and then you obviously earn a fee. That's one way. The second way, and this one was kind of by accident actually. So what I didn't realize, so on our end, is when we would bring people on the show, what was interesting is they just asked me, they'd be blunt, they'd say, okay, Adam, I love this experience, like what else could I do with you? Like they would literally ask, like, what kind of business can I do? What else do you sell? And I'm like, I thought about it for a minute. In the beginning, we didn't sell anything else. I'm like, this is a problem, Atul. I gotta figure out something to sell. So what that turned into over time was we have a thriving PR business. We do a lot of PR for people because we were already in the media space anyway. So it made a lot of sense. It isn't like I was like, oh, by the way, I can fix your plumbing. Like, no, we can't do that, right? But we can do PR because that's our business. And then another good profit center of ours. And speaking of books, so here goes an example. We have a book series that we put out. We've published over 400 authors now over the last 9 years, including one of my favorite football players, so American football, Barry Sanders. So he's a top running back in the United States. Some say the best in the world ever, and I'll say that too. So we publish a bunch of books, and then we, of course, on the podcast side of things, over time we started launching shows for people. So and that became its own opportunity, and we've launched now over 250 shows, and we're just getting started, like I see it. So those are some of the ways that we've been able to monetize from having shows and putting out content. And not to mention just so that's the money side of it. But I like to talk about, and I talk about this in the book as well, the quality of living side of things. I mean, I've had the opportunity to travel the world. I mean, last year I was in Singapore. We had gigs in Abu Dhabi and Riyadh. I mean, all of these things came from podcasting. No offense to any financial advisors out there or people working in finance, but before this business, I was in finance, and nobody was sending me invitations. They weren't like, hey, it's invite your local financial advisor day to our event, and we're going to let you interview heads of states and CEOs from top corporations and companies. Like, no offense to anybody else, but that wasn't happening to me until the podcast. So when you think about quality of life and things that you want to do and be known for and just how you want to spend your time, I can't think of a better way.
Hey, can you share what are the common mistake podcasters make when they start?
Man, did you read my book already, Atul?
No.
Man, I got one other. I addressed that in the book. And oh, by the way, the book's for free on YouTube too. So people can literally listen to the full audiobook if they're audiobook people. And so that's pretty easy to find too. But to answer your question, I talk about this in the book as well. So the first thing is expectations. And I'll tell you what I mean by expectations. They compare numbers from podcasting, so downloads, to other numbers on other social media. And so what happens is they get their hopes up and they think that the numbers are the same when they're not. They don't actually, when they're winning, they don't even know they're winning. Let me give you an example of what I break down in the book. Let's say that you have a 1 hour episode, okay? And let's say that 10 people listen to that episode, right? Some people are like, oh my gosh, 10 people listen to it. What they're not realizing though is that that's 60 or that's 10 hours of their time. That's 600 minutes. That's a ton of time. That's 600 minutes of somebody's lives, of 10 people's lives that were spent listening to your show instead of watching a movie that maybe cost $100 million to create. Instead of that, they'd listen to your show. And then so what somebody will say is, okay, I'm only getting 10 downloads, I'm only getting 20 downloads, whatever. But then they go on Instagram and let's say they get 100 likes on a post and they're like, oh my gosh, I got 100 likes. Man, that's like you're lucky if that was 100 seconds. So they translate the numbers and they don't
Yeah, yeah.
understand the value of those downloads versus a quick like on Instagram or a quick like on Facebook where somebody maybe they didn't even look at your content. So think about it this way. 100 minutes, right? 10
Mhm,
hours of people's time. So 10 times 60 minutes, 600 minutes. Now
mhm.
compare that again to 100 likes. What did it take those people to do that 100 likes? Maybe 5 minutes maximum. So 600 minutes versus 5 minutes. Which one do you want? Because what we're talking about here is people's time and people's attention.
Yeah.
That's what we're all fighting for. Advertisers, Facebook, Google, TV, Netflix, everybody's fighting for attention, right? So me all day long, I'm going to take that 600 minutes versus that 5 minutes and that quick dopamine rush that you get from having those likes. And I'm not against Instagram, by the way. I do a lot on Instagram. We have a pretty good following, a little over 100,000 follow. Ask Adam Torres. We put out a lot of content. And I love Instagram. It's fun. But I understand the business side of it, that those likes that people are giving me, they're not spending as much time as they are when they listen to the podcast. The people that are listening to my podcast, those are my core listeners. Those are my fans. Those are the people that when I launch a new product or something else, those are the people that are going to buy. Those are the people that are bought in. Those are the people that spread my content to other people as well and say, hey, you got to listen to this show because they're spending time with me. Those are the people that I have a relationship with. And I'm not saying the Instagram audience isn't great. I want people to follow me. Ask Adam Torres. Shameless plug on that one. And we put out great content on Instagram, so I'm not against it. But you asked me the question, why do people quit when it comes to podcasting?
Mhm,
It's because they don't get the same instant gratification or that same little. That's just one reason I go up in the book. There's more reasons, by the way, and I can give you more if you want. But that's the main reason. It's that people don't know their numbers. So they don't know that if they get, let's say you've been doing this a little bit longer. Let's say you get 50 downloads. Let's say you get 100, right?
mhm.
If you get 100 downloads on a single episode, that's equivalent of you standing in front of 100 people and doing a keynote. That's amazing. If you were standing in a room right now in front of 100 people giving a keynote speech, you'd be happy. Like you'd be like, oh man, this is cool. That's what you're doing with the podcast, but people don't realize it. So they don't realize it. And they don't realize that those 100 people gave you an hour. That's amazing. That's a huge, so they don't even know when they're winning.
Oh, what do you think? Is it much more important to focus on niche podcast than being a general podcast?
Well, here's the thing.
Mhm,
Podcasting hasn't even started. Literally, and people hate when I say that. People hate when I say that, and I'll tell you why, Atua. So when you think about how many podcasts are going to be coming to the market, when you think about the growth, when you think about everything else, what I like to tell people is what you need to focus on is consistency more than anything and developing yourself as a host. So your show is going to change. You might change the branding. You might change all the different things. And by the way that I got this information, so on my end is I went back. So I like to study. I like to really, when I get into a business, I really want to know it. So what I did was I went back in time and I read many over 10,000 pages now and counting of like biographies and things from people that were in the entertainment business. So think about like your Johnny Carsons, your Jay Leno's, your all the biggest like host stars in the United States, at least for the most part, that existed in the past. And there was one common theme, and this was the theme. It was all about the host. They host different shows. Like if you think about somebody's career in entertainment, they don't have one show. Like they have 10 20 shows. Like some shows fail, some make it, some don't. Some are on the air on TV, let's say, for example, for 2 years, for 3 years, for 7 years. It's not about the show, it's about the host. So what hosts need to do is they need to figure out how to become better hosts and how to hone their craft. At this point now in my career, I think, I can't even remember. Maybe I've hosted over 15 shows now. If I was sitting around thinking about like, oh, the niche for this one show, I got a new show coming out soon. It's called All Things Indie, and it's about indie film and indie musicians, indie things like that. I have a co-host that's going to be on that show with me. He's a filmmaker. He's done a bunch of films. I'm not sitting around like, is this the right niche? No, I'm out here like, how can I create cool stuff that people want to listen to that's going to entertain people? Like that's so if people get out of their head and understand that once they get behind the mic, they're
Mhm.
entertainers, then I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but that question doesn't matter. It's how do I become a better host?
Okay, so I'm guessing in your book you have talked about that too.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'll give you the example. By the way, let me give you the example that I give because people get really mad when I give this one. Because again, I do help people launch podcasts. My team launches them, but I do like the initial call, and I vet ideas and things like that, especially for people that want to co-host shows with me. So that's a big part of what we do too is offer that opportunity. So for example, that show that I just mentioned, All Things Indie that has a show host that his name is Steven that's going to be co-hosting that one. That was his idea and that was his kind of brainchild, and I we agreed with the concept, and so we're going to launch it. But to answer your question, so what'll happen is people come with this really complex idea. It's like, oh, I want to do this and this and this, and I'm like, I want the show you could do in your sleep. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, the number one thing that's going to make this show either succeed or fail is if you quit or not. So if this becomes a complicated show that you have to do a ton of prep for, you're a brand new host. Like you're just like this can't be a keynote speech every week, or this can't be like some highly scripted this and that, because you're not going to be able to maintain it. Like you're going to quit. That's what's going to happen. And then when you quit, guess what? Your show didn't succeed and you didn't succeed and it was a waste of time. So, and that's why, by the way, I feel that many people quit as well. So there's some stats out there. I don't know if they're right or not, but most people don't get over 25 or 26 episodes, which you don't have that you don't have that problem, Atul. You're a podcast. You got a couple hundred episodes in, man. I'm proud of you. But most people, when they say like these stats, and I never verified them or fact checked them. So if I'm spreading fake news in your show, sorry, but everybody's throwing around this term of, and I didn't put this one in writing, by the way, because in my book, because I couldn't fact check it, but that most people like quit, like 90% quit or something like that by the time they get to 24, 26 episodes, something like that. So there's a lot of inactive shows. I think it's because people are making this too complicated. They're making it way too complicated. They're way too in their head with it. To me, it's like this. What are the odds that somebody can't have a conversation with somebody? Now you have a fancy setup, you got mics, you got a headset, you're using a professional recording platform. A tool let's go back in time for me. My very first show, I didn't edit it. I didn't have a professional mic. I literally recorded it on my iPhone headphones, and I used a recording app on my phone, and I called people. Did it all. I 300 episodes, not even edited, nothing. I uploaded them. I didn't even know what a podcast was. You could have called that first show Voice Recordings with Adam talking to his buddies. That should have been the name of the show. And I think people subscribed because they were like, this guy's a train wreck. He doesn't even know what a podcast is, does he? But we're going to keep listening because he might figure it out. So people complicate it. Like that's crazy. Like get just understand that as a host, like if you're a comedian doesn't go up to and say, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do stand up comedy, and then my first time I go on there, I'm gonna kill, and then every time everybody's gonna laugh. No, they bomb constantly for years until they get their stick down and until people get used to their voice and they find their rhythm. So why would this be any different? It's not.
Okay, so I'm curious. What's your daily routine looks like?
Well, man, that's a hard one, Atul. It depends, man. I'll you see my hair is a little wet right now, and you were like, "What's going on here? Did you just wake up, Adam?" I'm like, "No, man. I just came from the gym." So I record anywhere. It depends on the week, but I'll give you some. I'll give you some stats. So my record is 91 episodes in 1 week. So 9-1, yeah, that's a 6-day recording. That's like 6 days. That was 15 plus hour days. 91. You heard it right. I averaged over 70 interviews, so it hovered between like 60 to 71 or two for a long, long time. It just depends when we're like full steam and like fully booked. Any given day, like a light day for me is, like 3 interviews. That's really light. That means I didn't go to work that day. So that's 3 interviews. And then I do a lot of in-person too, like events. So
Mhm,
I'll give
mhm.
you an example. A conference, it's one of the things that we do. It's a big product for us. So let's say that we call it our broadcasting package. So let's say that an event or conference organizer wants to get promo for their event. What they'll do is they'll hire me. I'll come out and then I'll do interviews. I normally will interview their speakers. I'll interview their sponsors maybe, and I'll do anywhere between, let's call it 15 to 30 interviews in a day for them. So it really just depends. So I travel quite a bit doing that as well. So it depends on the day, but I'll tell you what I look at it as is I'm doing some type of episodes. If I'm not doing an episode, I start to feel weird. I'm like somebody else out there is doing an episode today, and I'm not. Something's wrong with that picture tool. I can't let you be the only one working, man. I'm gonna be like, Atul's out here doing an episode. What are you doing today, Adam? Come on.
For our listeners who want to connect with you or want to get some help from you with their podcasting, where can they go?
So easiest thing, first off, I want everybody to grab that book, 1billionpodcast.com, completely free. You could see it. Go to that website. You could download it for free, or go to the YouTube channel as well. Ask Adam Torres. You'll find it pretty easy. You could put that in YouTube, or even there's multiple things there. So you can listen to the audiobook free right now on YouTube. And then if you want to connect with me, if you got a show idea, we're always looking for co-hosts. We're looking for hosts. We're looking for all kinds of anybody that wants to really be part of that podcasting ecosystem. So just go to my Instagram. That's the easiest way. There's a link tree on there where you can, all the things we talked about, you can see my different shows. There's a ton of different books and stuff we give away for free. I like to say we give away more free content than any other media outlet of our size on the planet. Don't believe me? Go check that out. Ask Adam Torres on Instagram, and shoot me a DM if you got a show idea or you got something else like that going on. I'd love to build. I'm a big fan of promoting other people that are podcasters just like yourself, Atul. And man, it's really been a pleasure to come on your show. I appreciate all you're doing, and keep it up, man.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing your wisdom. It was really fun chatting with you.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Atul.
This is Genius Talk Podcast, and I'm your host, Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, of course. So speaking of email marketing, if you got some questions, challenges, doubt, or just simply need some help with your email marketing, then reach out to me at atul@thebestemailmarketer.com, and I'll be happy to help.